This is one of the most mysterious places on Earth. It's believed that somewhere underneath these waters is an entire city. But why did this happen? And how did it end up in the sea? Well, welcome back, everyone. Here today we are going to be exploring the lost city of Alexandria. Forget Atlantis, because this place is real. So without further ado, let's get started. We have to go back to the year 332 BC, when Alexander the Great, after having just defeated the Persians, arrived to the shores of Egypt. He had conquered vast areas of the Middle East, and his empire stretched all the way from Greece to India. As he was walking around the area, he decided that this would be a great spot for a new city. He figured that if he could make Alexandria as great as Athens or Sparta, then he might be able to unite his Greek empire with Egypt. He didn't realize at the time, but he would end up starting one of the greatest cities in history. Not only did this new city end up becoming one of the largest, it also became one of the wealthiest cities in the world. Thanks to its position between Greece and India, merchants were more than willing to stop off here and trade goods. At first, Alexandria wasn't very big. It started out as a small village, but within 100 years it had grown into a huge city. By 0 AD, it was thought to be the second largest city in the world, only behind Rome. There are so many stories about this city, but the main reason why it is so famous has to do with knowledge and learning. When Ptolemy I, who was one of Alexander's generals, took over the city, he made it his personal mission to make Alexandria into the capital of knowledge. This city literally became the center of the world for books, research, and education. People from all over the world would come to Alexandria to study and learn. There were over 400,000 scrolls stored in the Great Library, and scholars from all across the known world gathered there to discuss their findings and research. Another thing that helped put Alexandria on the map was the Lighthouse of Pharos. This tower stood at 100 meters tall and guided sailors into the harbor. It became one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Many people forget that this lighthouse was actually located on an island, which means that the city had to build a mole to connect the two together. This mole extended over half a mile into the sea and made it easier for boats to travel in and out of the harbor. But there was another reason that the kings of Alexandria loved the sea. It gave them a powerful navy that they used to dominate the seas. They controlled nearly all of the shipping lanes that traveled from Europe to India. For centuries, the rulers of Alexandria grew increasingly wealthy thanks to collecting taxes on all the trade ships that sailed into their harbors. During the 2nd century AD, the city thrived like no other. It was one of the largest ports in the Mediterranean, and it was loaded with riches. But unfortunately, it didn't last forever. In the year 204 BC, Rome and Alexandria went to war. Julius Caesar came to Egypt and sided with Cleopatra against her brother. After Caesar was assassinated, Octavian took over the Roman Empire. He fought against Mark Antony, who happened to be Cleopatra's lover. This conflict ended up taking place in Alexandria, and it was called the Battle of Actium. The Egyptians and Romans fought each other at sea in one of the biggest naval battles of the ancient world. Eventually, Octavian defeated Cleopatra and forced her to commit suicide. But before she died, she ordered that all the treasure in the city be burned. She knew that her enemies would arrive soon, and she wanted to prevent them from gaining any of her wealth. After taking control of Alexandria, Octavian renamed it to Alexandria Caesar. But it never really recovered from the damage that occurred during the war. In the following decades, parts of the city were destroyed by earthquakes and flooding, but some believe that a curse may have been the true cause. According to legend, when Cleopatra found out that Octavian had defeated her fleet and was coming for her, she panicked. She opened the floodgates that connected the Red Sea with the Mediterranean. This caused salty seawater to pour into the canals of Alexandria. She hoped that this would destroy the city and prevent Octavian from claiming victory. Although she failed to kill Octavian, she did manage to kill herself. However, this also led to the destruction of the city. Because of this, many believe that the entire city was cursed. But even if she hadn't cursed the city, it was doomed to fail. In the year 395 AD, Theodosius III converted the Roman Empire to Christianity. This meant that paganism was outlawed, and Alexandria was no longer favored because it had too many different religions. Also, the library was completely destroyed by religious fanatics. Over the next few centuries, the city began to sink into the ground and eventually disappeared under the waves. Some historians believe that the last attack on the city may have come from the Arabs. They invaded Alexandria in 644 AD and were said to have killed anyone who opposed them. What we know for sure is that the Arab conquest marked the end of ancient Egyptian civilization. But wait a minute, how did all of these natural disasters sink an entire city? We mentioned that earthquakes played a role, but there's much more to it than that. In order for an earthquake to sink a city, it would have to be absolutely massive, like a 7 or 8 on the Richter scale. These earthquakes were so strong that they literally moved the earth and caused large sections of land to collapse into the sea. Another disaster that hit Alexandria was a tsunami. At first, the city had protected itself against the rising tides by building walls and moats around the city. But over time, these defenses broke down. Every time a boat would sail in or out of the harbor, they would carve away at the protective structures until they were no longer effective. Not only that, but there were constant wars happening. During these battles, both sides would destroy the protective structures to gain access to the open sea. It wasn't just natural disasters that sank the city. Humans played a major role in its demise as well. For example, people probably walked around the coast and unknowingly eroded the foundations of the city. The vibrations from their footsteps likely weakened the soil until the whole thing collapsed into the sea. Then, when the natural disasters hit, the city was already weakened and couldn't stand a chance. But what exactly happened to it? Is it still buried under the sand, or did it completely disappear? The answer is that it disappeared. Some researchers believe that parts of the city are still standing, but for the most part, it is now underwater. The truth is that the land around Alexandria has sunk several feet since the days of the pharaohs. This means that areas that were once dry land are now under 100 feet of water. Because of this, scuba divers have discovered many amazing things, such as marble statues, broken columns from ancient temples, and pieces of pottery. In fact, archaeologists have used side-scan sonar to create maps of the seabed. These maps have shown them that there are many strange shapes that look like old buildings. Unfortunately, it's very difficult to recover anything from the bottom of the sea. This is why we haven't found any solid evidence to prove what happened to Alexandria. There are rumors that there are still secret chambers hiding beneath the waves, as well as many hidden tombs. Maybe one day we will discover what's inside them, but for now, they remain nothing but legends. But here's the crazy part. There is evidence to suggest that the city of Alexandria may not have sunk at all. Yes, parts of it are underwater, but it never truly disappeared. Some believe that the priests of Alexandria hid some of the most valuable artifacts and scrolls in the city and either buried them underground or dropped them into the sea. One of the most important things that Alexandria was known for was its great library. There were hundreds of thousands of scrolls and books stored there, but it is rumored that only a handful survived. We know that Julius Caesar accidentally set fire to a part of the library, but we don't know if it was ever rebuilt. Many believe that the remaining scrolls were hidden in underground chambers, though there's no physical proof of this. So where is it now? Did the city really sink, or are there still parts of it above ground? Some believe that the city never sank at all, but instead is now hidden beneath modern-day Alexandria. Even though there are layers of dirt and debris covering the ruins, there are still some buildings that haven't been uncovered. If we took away the sand and dirt, we would see that there are still many standing structures left over from the ancient days. If you ever visit Alexandria today, you will notice that there are many mosques and churches scattered throughout the city. These buildings were placed on top of ancient ruins. They simply don't realize it. Perhaps one day we will find out exactly what happened to Alexandria. Until then, it will continue to elude us like a ghost city.